So I would need to shift this that way just a bit to get this to go in. So can we do, oh, we can't quite. It's that corner. There we go. That is the full size of my shower. I'm ripping down this 2x4 because I wanted to get a really smooth transition between the Schluter base and the little wood extension I was making. Okay, so we're just a tiny little bit lower than the pan itself. I considered ripping down the extension pieces on the side the same way, but I figured that the thinset I would have to add to secure the Schluter base to the subfloor would make up that difference in height. We'll see shortly that I was wrong. Here I just needed to get it nice and clean before I started applying the thinset. All right, that part done. There we go. All right, now we get to start doing the part I've never done before. I was initially trying to keep the trowel clean, but gave up on that almost immediately. I had no idea how much stuff this was gonna take. So I just mixed it all. So I have to leave enough that I can trowel full height ridges into it. See, some of these are not full height here. When the ridges are full, they kind of have like a dome shape over them, and these ones have kind of like a V at the top because they weren't totally full. And you might be able to see it here a little bit clearer, but it's just like we've got full height here and then a big groove there. Okay. When I was planning the layout of the bathroom, this shower pan didn't exist. It was a very new product when I got to use it. That did not raise that up as much as I was expecting, and I haven't even squished it yet. So now we just like squish it down, try to collapse some ridges a little bit of wiggle wobble. I realized during editing that I should have run my ridges the other direction, but the shower works. And see it's moving? That means it's collapsing the ridges. And then we can make sure this is pushed right in and we can lay this front piece down. And we are gonna lay it down on top of this thinset, and it might help a little bit in terms of it being cut down. So if I had cut down the other 2x4s, I really thought it was gonna add more height, but it really didn't add much height at all. So I'm gonna have to do a bit of a thinset ramp there, but we'll do that as like the last thing. I definitely lost some splooge down there, and this needs to be pressed down. I wanna make sure we're like fully squished down here. We'll make sure we wipe around the outside of this too, and then we'll put a whole bunch more goop in around here. I don't think we even need to trowel that down. We just need to get it gooped. And then we press it in, and then we use the other trowel to get that last little ring in on top. A little bit of extra waterproofing this way. Don't put that one in upside down, Moose. You will be sad, because that has got to go on the outside of that, and we're good. Hi, Juliana. Give me a call in 10 years. I'll put you to work tiling stuff, okay? So now we want to get a nice thick coat on all of this stuff in the middle here. For anyone that doesn't already know, I do all of this live over on Twitch, and Juliana was an 8-year-old daughter of one of the viewers that was hanging out watching that day. Now we can goop the outside of this, the inside of this, and squeeze this down in here. Past the point of no return. Lots of goop on here. And we squish down till stuff squishes out. Guys, I'm doing it. I'm tiling, sort of. And then we put more goop on the top of that. We fill this in here. I'm not sure if there's an up and a down. I'm gonna guess probably not. And if I'm wrong, we can fix it. I don't show it, but I did go back and check it before everything had a chance to dry up. And I'm trying to get these air bubbles out. This is one of those Moose shows his work too much sequences that a lot of the other YouTubers will skip out on. I like to include those once in a while to show just how long it actually takes someone when they're not super editing for maximum show off. I've never used this system before, so I don't know how fussy it is. And when I don't know how fussy something is, I over fuss to make sure that I haven't under fussed. Because if a system is fussy and you under fuss it, you're in for a sad time. And one of the things I want to do is make an outside edge for this, so that when I build up this spot, it doesn't splooge all over the place. So this is just an attempt to maintain some reasonable slope and give a slightly gradual taper to it. And if it's not entirely perfect, that's okay. It'll be better than not making an effort, and the amount of water that will sit in these corners is going to be fairly minimal. And we just try to maintain between this point and, somewhere down here, something resembling proper slope. Build it out just a little bit more this way. We don't need much. So you can see how we still have a bit of a gap there. This is not very self-leveling, and that's good because I don't want it to be level. I want it to be appropriate sloped. And then we can try to pretty it up just a little bit with the 10-inch knife thereafter. Right now, Schluter would consider this part of its waterproofing. I will be doing Redgard on everything later as like my real waterproofing solution because 2x4s aren't. So we're gonna just try to just smooth this out just a bit. And take away some of this big buildup back here. All right, well, that'll be okay for slope. I didn't step in it too much. We can clean off the outside here later. I had to come back and readjust the depth that I had put all the plumbing at because I had put it far too deep and the valves were not going to protrude enough from the tile for the faucets to sit properly. After I cut away enough material that I would be able to move the backing, I marked where the backing initially was and then extended that line with my square. Then I just had to mark the proper depth and all the places, and then I could unscrew and rescrew all the backing, and that moved all the plumbing with it. Everything should be more or less movable now, and getting this put back in place could be fairly straightforward. Just line up these lines here, and we will be within 0.5 millimeter of where I need to be. So my wall material is 1/2 inch thick, and then the tiles should be about 1/2 inch. So if I take this thing and put it up on top of here, as long as this base, my maximum finished wall should line up in here just fine now. So this is gonna work. I just have to finish doing. I get to spin this around, get it on its side, and try to cut off 1/2 inch. And it feels just like Christmas. I'll leave it to all the drywall experts in the comments to tell me how easy it is to shave just a 1/2 inch off. And then I will wait for them to go and show me how they do that, and then how they do that with Durock glass tile backer. Well, could have gone worse. You know, 3 3/4 there. Yeah, I'll be able to use that for the sides of a niche. So we're not really wasting material, which is nice. Hey, one piece. Before I started using my drywall saw, I did actually go look for my Rotozip. And when I got tired of using my drywall saw, I went looking for the Rotozip again. And then when I decided that I was not going to put up with the nonsense of the drywall saw anymore, I went looking for the Rotozip a third time and actually finally found it. So we get to see me wasting a whole lot of time with the drywall knife, and then I get to come back and zip the rest out in a matter of just a few seconds. That's a good size niche. Now you can at me all you want about using just a little bit of PL Premium and some glass tile backer for the back of the niche here. I also plan to use quartz in the back of the niche, which gives it more strength than anything you'll ever come across. That's pretty plumb. Gonna put one screw in, so that'll keep it from falling over. I gotta go buy more drywall screws. I can't even route out the niche without it secured to the wall. So got one side done. All right, so this up overhead screws in here. Let's get some black Sharpie marks on where the screws are. I have a bad habit of drilling holes in drywall in the wrong place, so I wanted to test fit it before I was ready to actually screw it in. That is super duper not in the right position. I'm not over yet. There we go. There we go. 2 for 2. Good job, Moose. Well, I'm really pleased those are in the right spot, but yeah, I've got to get, there's the metal plate and the vapor barrier box for that light. So I've got to get those, and then I can put this up, and then I can rotozip around that. All right, so that gives me straight, square, and parallel. So I can take this thing, there we go. So I can go this way. So then I get the laser to line up on this point, and this point, and this point, and this point, and then I have my dead center. So we're gonna give ourselves way too much to work with here, because that makes life easier. If you do ever hang out on the Twitch stream, please tell me when I'm working out of frame. Sitting down on the job. I don't remember if they were sold out of the factory made matching vapor barrier boxes, or if I just decided to be cheap because there was only one left to do. This will actually end up being a better seal than would have come with what I could have bought for the vapor barrier bag. It's just a lot more time intensive. Okay, then we do like a bit of a fold over to, let's say, there. And we should be able to tape this down, get a good seal. I mean, it's really ghetto, but I think it'll do the job of keeping any vapor from escaping the shower and getting up into the bulkhead. Like, we're pretty well taped up as soon as I get this side on. So then the idea is get this put in up here, roundabout's the right place. I wanted to make sure the driver would be easily maintainable, accessible, howeverable. So I had to cut a fairly sizable hole in my vapor bag, box, whatever you want to call it, and then reseal that up after. Beautiful, that is awesome. All right, then I can get this tucked out of the way. I will need to get the laser put back in so that once this is up, I can come in with my Rotozip and zip that out. So there we go. That was much easier than I was expecting. First try, look at that. Easy. All right, well, starting at the bottom, get all the overlaps going the right way. This ended up being a much longer section of time lapse than I was expecting, just because it was actually not that bad to look at least as far as the time lapses on my YouTube channel go. I'll try to do better ones in the next house. Except I think I'm done. So we'll have another look for any missing screws. I think we're good though. This is just another little bit to show that yes, I can do drywall, I can do mudding, I can do taping. I don't like to, I'm really slow at it. I'm not very good at it. I get a pretty okay result in the end, but you know, everyone thinks that speed is the most important thing, so here's me being slow. Okay, I need a bit of tape there, a bit of tape there, and a piece of tape all along the top. Listen, it's hard to resist touching it sometimes. You see a new thing and you're just like, oh, I gotta touch it just a little bit more. I just gotta touch it a little bit more. That'll sand. That'll sand. I don't know if I actually lost the footage or if I just didn't organize it very well, but I did have to go and Redgard everything. So the fact that you can see the tiles here is just a little bit of an editing nonsense from when I went back a little bit later to get some of the spots that needed a little bit more Redgard touch up. Most of the spots I'm covering over were little Thinset drops or chunks or bubbles or whatever that I had gone and cut out, and that left a little bit of an imperfection in the waterproofing. So I wanted to get another layer over all of it, and I wanted to get another layer in the bottom as well because I had extra, so why not? I think that's all the random Sharpies. Got to get this corner, then the back corner, then redo the floor one more time. Luckily, I have a few more tiles. Tiling isn't hard. That's still too much. So we're gonna leave intentionally too much on and try this again. Okay, now it's too long, but at least I can trim it down a little bit and go again. Tiling is fussy and it takes patience and it takes attention to detail, but it's not hard. You'll never get these hexagon tiles to look right on a sloped floor, so just understand that it'll look okay once you grout it. Now this here is going to be a little bit wide, but I can't get a sliver in there.